Hi everyone, this is Rochelle with Losing It on Keto. And in today's video, what I wanted to do is I wanted to provide a shorter video that contains the summarized protocol that I'm following. I've received numerous questions about that, and my answer has been to date to refer to the first video on this channel where I went in depth in that. But that video is almost 45 minutes long. So I wanted to do this updated one, an abbreviated video, so that if you have that question, you can look at this video to get the key information. And then if you want to learn more, to go to that first video. So this video is going to cover applying ideal protein-like protocol to maximize fat loss. That's essentially what I'm doing, and sometimes I refer to that as scripting protein-sparing modified fast. So what is, so I reference ideal protein. I did that weight loss program in 2014, and I achieved the best success I ever had with weight loss in my adult life. So I was a very skinny kid. I was a rail. And then puberty hit, and these hips expanded, and since then, my entire adult life have been a chronic yo-yo dieter and tried lots of different programs. So when I found Ideal Protein and applied that in a little more than 4 months, I achieved the best result that I ever had, in the easiest that I ever had. And so I actually got down to a single digit size, which was a first for me, and for me quite remarkable. But since then I've learned a lot. And part of the learning has concluded, I'm pretty well researched on this. I mentioned in that first video that I'm a certified keto coach, but I did that for education, for myself. I don't coach anyone. I just did it for myself. But anyways, through the research, I've concluded that the protein-sparing modified fast and the protein energy diet that Dr. Ted Naiman has defined, ideal protein, they're all scientifically similar in that they prioritize protein while keeping carbs low and being careful with fat. Because recognizing that the consumption of too much dietary fat can prevent stored fat from being burned. And so, the key with fat is, having enough so that you have healthy hormone function. And the nice thing about this protocol is it defines that so that you don't have to worry about it. Another learning that I did, looking back through the lens that I have now versus then, is that the Ideal Protein had packaged foods. And when I look at those ingredients in those packaged foods, I would not consume any one of those. So for example, one of the common staples of protein in their packets was from soy protein isolates, and that's just simply not something I will consume. So I wanted the results of that protocol, but with better ingredients and some other things I wanted to achieve. So I mentioned being a chronic yo-yo dieter, and unfortunately, my weight has yo-yoed, and it's up now. If you've been tracking, you know where I'm at. And I thought, in 2018, I adopted a keto lifestyle full time. I have not eaten a non-keto friendly food since 2018. And I thought that was going to be enough to break the yo-yo cycle. But what I've learned is, the same sort of behaviors of treats produces the same results. So even swapping keto treats, it produces the same results. Because if you consume too much of that, you knock yourself out of ketosis, etc. Now I believe I'm healthier for cutting out the grains and all of that, but from a weight standpoint, I've continued to yo-yo. So anyways, I'm at the point now where I want the same success that I achieved an ideal protein, but I want to do it in a healthier way. So I want to do that by applying all that I've learned in these years. So I want healthier ingredients. I understand the benefits of intermittent fasting, so I want to incorporate that. And then I've also learned what good supplementation is, and I want to apply that. So I've concluded if I apply all that I learned, then I could achieve that same result in a healthier way. And I call that scripted protein sparing modified fast. So just going a little bit more in depth into what is ideal protein. So their protocol would be, and they'd tell you it was medically supervised because you'd have a coach that you'd go visit with, and you would purchase their packaged products and their supplements and such. And those packaged products were, referred to as their 3 protein packaged foods or packets. So you'd have 3 of those packets a day, and those packets would fit into a predefined set of macros. So they'd be less than 150 calories, 12 to 23 grams of protein, less than 5 grams of fat, and less than 5 net carbs. And for me, I would always gravitate towards those products that were fewer fat grams and fewer carbs, thinking, the better I did there, the better choices I made there, the faster my progress would be. And then the protocol called for a whole food dinner, which was 4 to 8 ounces of lean protein. The protocol also has 2 teaspoons of olive oil per day and 4 cups of the lowest carb vegetables per day. As well as I mentioned, they had supplements. So they had added supplements, including fish oil for omega-3s. And then the beverages were, or are coffee, tea, still, or sparkling water, as long as it's keto-friendly. So keto-friendly sweeteners. They have a motto called Eat the Sheet. So they have a sheet that spells this out. So it defines what's the lean protein sources, what are the carb, the vegetable choices. And so they kept it very simple, which was, if it's not on the sheet, it's not on protocol. And that's why I say by applying this, I called it scripted protein sparing modified fast, because I adopt that same set of logic to the program that I'm following. So their protocol looks like what I have defined here. So eating 4 times a day, for breakfast a protein packet with supplements, and then lunch a protein packet with 2 cups of the lowest carb vegetables with a teaspoon of oil, olive oil, and then a snack, a protein packet, and then dinner, 4 to 8 ounces of lean protein, 2 cups of the lowest carb vegetables, a teaspoon of olive oil, and some supplementation. So that's how the protocol was laid out. And like I said, the sheet would spell this out, and also what foods make up these components beyond the protein packets that you would purchase. So what was baked in to that protocol were the following macros. So those 4 meals, the 3 packets plus the whole food dinner, would equate to 100 grams, approximately 100 grams of protein. And fat, the combination of the supplements and the added teaspoons of olive oil, would equate to 25 grams of fat. And then the total carbs based on the vegetables and what you consumed in the packets would be about 30 grams. And you can see here the breakout. So about 54% coming from protein, about 30% from fat, and about 16% from carbs, for about a total of 750 calories. So there was no, keto calculator involved, no tracking involved, because it was already baked into the protocol. And that's why I call it, applying this, that's why I call it scripted protein sparing modified fast, adopting this same strategy. So taking it a step further, The, the comparison. So there are multiple ways that one could apply the scripted protein sparing modified fast. One, you can do the protocol that I just defined, which is the 4 meals per day. Or you could just apply the macros that I just went through. So currently I'm just applying the macros, but just to explain, so looking at various factors of this protocol. So keto calculator. There's no need for a keto calculator for what I just explained. So because it's predetermined, it's baked into the protocol, and that's true of both. And then the eating frequency, as I just went through, if you followed that protocol, it's 4 times per day. Or you can do it the way I'm currently doing it to incorporate more intermittent fasting, which is I have 2 meals a day, and I've recently posted a video on a day of eating where you see the 2 meals. And then the protein powder, so if you're applying that protocol, then you can use, commercial protein powder as long as it meets those macros that I went through for a packet, then you're good to go. There's things like Premier protein shakes that people consume, or they'll get Quest protein and make up a shake or make a cookie out of it. I've done videos on this where I've taken my Sun Warrior high performance protein powder and I've made the protein cookie cakes. So that is a quote unquote protein packet. So you do 3 of those a day if you're following a more, the ideal protein strict approach. For me, when I'm just applying the macros, I use the protein powder as desired that you've seen in my videos, but I'm sticking to those macros. So that typically ranges from, about 40 grams of protein in meal 1 and about 60 grams of protein in meal 2. But it's still applying the protocol, the macros. It's just applying them in a little bit of a different way. So if you find that doing the ideal protein protocol that I just shared with you easier, then do it that way. Otherwise, just apply the macros like I've been showing you in my reboot videos. And then I say no tracking. So if you follow the protocol of the 4 meals a day, 3 protein packets, and then the lunch and dinner that has, for dinner, the lean protein and then the vegetables and the olive oil, then you don't have to track anything. Whereas if you're just applying the macros, you don't need to track, but you need to have a general sense of, what you're consuming. So you do have to know, how many grams of protein, and I want to make sure this is, what I'm consuming is low fat and low carb. So as long as you're okay with that, then you can just apply the macros the way I am doing on the reboot. And I've given you a good number of meal ideas for how I'm applying that. And then both have supplements. So you've got, 2 ways that you can apply this. Same approach. One is a little more scripted than the other, but both with the same macros. So I hope that's helpful for you, and you can pick, if you choose to do this, which way you do it, or mix it up. And then one last thing that I wanted to cover is the common questions and comments that I get. So there's 3 that I've highlighted here. So I get routinely, you get bombarded with this in the keto community of, be careful, doing low fat is not healthy. But then to that I say, I refer to Dr. Ted Naiman and his approach with the protein to energy diet. Also, I fall back on the doctor behind the ideal protein protocol in regards to both the fat amount and type. And I'm also, I get my own periodic blood test to monitor certain health markers. So overall, that's my answer to that. And I should also add that I'm going by how I feel. Like I said, I have tremendous energy, more than I know what to do with, and I feel great. The next one is you'll slow your metabolism with such low calories. And to that, I refer to the doctors behind the ideal protein protocol again. That note with the fat burn that occurs, you're actually burning like 2,000 calories a day by consuming your stored fat. Also, you're preserving muscle on this protocol by prioritizing protein. So muscle is where fat's burned. So to me, that helps maintain the basal metabolic rate. Further, I did a resting metabolic rate and a DEXA scan after I did months of this protocol, and it was not damaged, which I attribute to the above, to the results of prioritizing protein. And I will continue to do those scans as necessary, as I feel necessary. And then the last one, how do you have energy to function on such low calories? Well, I mentioned above that you're actually you're getting energy from more than just what your dietary calories. Your body is storing that energy, and so your body is using that. So that's another source of energy. And based on how I feel, my energy level, that you can definitely feel that. And I just want to add one other thing to this, which is I have done both regular keto and, Dr. Berry's beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. And yeah, I felt better, but not as good as how I feel on this protocol. And keto in general lowers cravings, but comparatively speaking, this protocol that I'm doing, I have absolutely no cravings. Where I would have cravings for keto treats and sweets on regular keto. Now that was diminished on BBBE, but that was replaced with a desire to have more fat. And if you're consuming more fat, like I said before, your body is going to burn the dietary fat and secondarily use the stored fat. And I'm looking to maximize the stored fat burn here. So comparatively speaking, I find this a better strategy to achieve the goals that I want at the pace that I want, and using markers like my energy level, cravings, how I feel. This is the best for me for what my current goal is, and I'll continue to do this while that's the case. So anyways, this video is probably a little longer than I intended, but I did need to go into some of this, and so it's certainly shorter than the 45 minutes that first video. So I hope this helps answer some of those questions, and if you have any more, feel free to post them in the comments and I'll respond. And as always, I hope you're benefiting from this information. Until the next time, I'll see you.